Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you could have first heard this episode 9 months ago if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St. Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, this is it!
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I'm Sam Nifty Delaney, so what?
Welcome. This is the Rod Hull Odyssey Part 2, I think. We are looking at the episode of This Is Your Life from 1983, where Rod Hull was the guest, minus Emu. I have to say that now. If you're tuning in for lots of Emu This Is Your Life content, Emu, I guess, was asleep when this was going on.
Sometimes he did have to go to bed, considering the amount of energy he fucking burnt when he was awake. I bet he had to really get quite a lot of rest.
He was a very energetic bird. Yeah. And of course, that was what Rod used to say to people who knocked on the door.
Knocked on his door. Sorry, he's sleeping.
No, he's asleep.
No, he's sleeping. You haven't pissed on my tyres, have you? Good. No,
yeah,
he's
make sure
sleeping.
you don't on the way out. That bothers me. I think about that a lot more than I should.
What about Rod Hull having his tyres pissed on?
His tyres pissed on, yeah.
That geezer who told me that, I know the shop he works in, so I might swing by it later today or at some point this week, 'cause it's not far from where I live. I might swing by and do a little bit more digging.
That'd be good if you could.
Yeah. I will, yeah.
And when he told me that he just used to say that Emu was asleep, I thought, oh, what a prick. But then, if he got Emu out, there'd be a queue around the block, wouldn't there?
I think it's absolutely... I thought it reflected quite well on him, because he's got 3 options. He can either go, don't be daft, he's just a fucking puppet. Yeah. Fuck off.
He's in a box.
Yeah. He's not real. He ain't got a beating heart or blood fucking flowing through his veins. He's just made of fucking plastic and fabric and nylon.
Do you know where he is? He's in the fucking garage. Fuck off. So
he could say that, and that would break the hearts of his child visitors. Yeah. He could go the other extreme and go, oh yeah, I'll go and get him, and then do the whole routine. But that's just unsustainable. No one would expect him to do that. So what he did was he acknowledged that he was real and said something sweet, which is he's sleeping. Because weirdly, it's quite an interesting thing actually about sleep. If you think of anyone sleeping, like the people say public speaking, if you think of everyone naked in the audience, it makes you feel more relaxed because you think, oh, they're all human like me. Or I've heard some people saying, oh, when you work with celebrities, just remember they all shit like anyone else. They all shit on the toilet, right? I don't like that. I don't like to think of the Queen doing
I'm not sure
shit.
They all do, to be honest. I think
exactly. I'm not sure that's true. I'm pretty sure Simon Cowell doesn't. I think he takes a pill and that just eradicates the feces. He dissolves it all in his body.
Yeah. Where does it go, though?
Someone went to his party that he has once a year, and someone I know, and got a snap of his toilet roll, which was black toilet roll.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
But going back to sleep, I think that when you think of someone who's being mean, like think of a celebrity that you think is awful, like a cruel person, right? Like let's take Hitler, the ultimate.
I'm thinking of one.
Right? Now, think of them sleeping, and you can't help but think, oh, that's nice.
Sleepy Hitler.
Yeah. Think of Hitler. Horrible. Now think of Hitler having a nice sleep. You think, lovely.
Because he's all vulnerable.
All peaceful.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Sleep tight, Hitler.
Yeah. What do you dream of, Hitler?
Do you dream of playing with a puppy in a field full of daisies?
Yeah. God.
It's interesting, isn't it? Anyone, you picture anyone having a lovely sleep. It has to be a lovely sleep, not someone having a horrible, drunken, sort of snoring and dribbling sleep. A lovely, gentle sleep. And you think, they're not all bad.
Yeah. Do you think Hitler would sleep in his uniform, or would he have pyjamas?
I reckon he had pyjamas, but he had pyjamas patterned with swastikas all over.
Ah, that's a shame.
Yeah, which would be
I'm
horrible.
imagining just like plain, maybe purple ones.
Silky
Not-
or cotton?
Not with any silk.
Silk, well, especially when he was in the top job, he would have upgraded to silk pyjamas, wouldn't he?
I don't think he'd have had silk when he was in that garret in Austria when he was just a struggling painter.
No.
He probably slept in
A sack.
long johns, something like that.
Or a Hessian sack that he'd cut
Maybe in a sack.
armholes
What,
into.
naked? Oh, right, yeah. Oh, that'd be really rough, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Don't imagine
When he was
sleeping like that.
poverty-stricken, that's what he had. Ich bin poverty-stricken!
I wonder if that'll lose us any listeners. Imagine
Think of any famous murderers, now think of them sleeping.
Yorkshire Ripper.
Having a nice
snooze.
sleep.
Maybe a
Sleep
little bit of
tight, Yorkshire
snoring.
Ripper.
A little bit of snoring and his beard's just bristling in the... yeah.
What does Oscar do when he's sleeping? Does he do anything amusing?
Sometimes he'll dream and he'll kick his legs a little bit and do a little bit of yelping. I don't know whether he's dreaming good things or bad things or what.
Yeah, dog having a dream
I've
is
asked him, but
one
he
of the
doesn't say it.
funniest things. Well, he's probably private about his dreams.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you, Andy. I don't ask you about your dreams. You don't ask me about mine. That's the deal.
I tell him about all of mine.
Do you?
Whether he likes it or not.
Oh, it's a bit disturbing.
Yeah.
What? Carol Vorderman?
What are you burdening me with this for?
I don't understand. My dog brain can't process it.
Carol Vorderman, of course, is now the number one enemy of the UK government as we record this. She's on a fucking mission.
Is she just started issuing statements, firing statements?
Tweets. I think she was on This Morning the other day. She's just absolutely laying into the government at every
She's had
opportunity.
it with them, hasn't she? She's had enough.
Yeah, straw, camel's back, broke. Yeah. Good for her, I say.
Good on her, because, someone's got to stand up and be counted. We all moan on about it, but I saw a meme this morning and it had a picture of... It's hard to explain because memes, obviously, by definition, are visual jokes, but it was some people having a big scrap in a sort of a restaurant, and someone else was sitting on the sidelines just scrolling casually through his phone. And someone had written next to the people for having this fight, the French society, when the government made them work for 2 extra years, right?
Yeah.
Because they'd changed retirement age. And then it just had British society, when the government isn't paying tax, is openly corrupt and has imposed like fucking inflation, recession, cost of living crisis and a broken NHS for the last 13 years. And we're just sitting scrolling through a phone. I haven't really done it justice. The point is that in other countries, proper countries like fucking France, they fucking kick off when the government are taking the piss. But here, who have we got? Not me or you. We're not doing anything other than moaning on this podcast once in a while. Your Vordermans of this world are standing up and being counted.
They're stepping up. Yeah.
Go on, Carol. She'd make a fucking good chancellor with her head for numbers, wouldn't she?
Yeah. She's also got... I was reading a thing about her. She's also got... she doesn't have a single partner. She's got a series of what she calls special friends.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
And there's like 7 of them, I think, altogether. And this has gone on for years. They all know about each other. And makes you think, doesn't it?
What, could you be one?
I'd like to be.
There's available. She pretty sure, like, going back quite a few years now, like, pretty sure she was flirting with me. For a sustained period, and then it fizzled out. I don't even know if she still follows me on Twitter. She did for a while. There was, in my opinion, there was a flirtation going on between me and Vorderman. It wouldn't have ever gone anywhere. Of course, it wouldn't. But had life been different, had our paths taken us in different directions, might I have ended up in as one of her chicklets, as she may call her harem of eligible men. Yeah, I'd have been open-minded about that.
I've just followed her on Twitter just to see. what'll happen.
See what happens.
I similar thing going on. I think with Susanna Reid.
Oh yeah,
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was still live.
Not really so much now. And now that she's more legitimate on TV as a celebrity, she doesn't.
Oh, she had to.
She can't be seen to be
fraternising.
Fraternising with the problematic likes of me.
Yeah.
What with me?
It would have been a management said, right. Listen, you're going to the next level. First thing you need to do is cut off all contact with this Andy Dawson character.
This northerner.
He's been going around. He's been throwing around threats to kick Gove in the bollocks, all sorts. And
that was what finished it. I think.
And we can't have that.
Yeah. Anyway,
oh my God, I'm just scrolling Instagram, and as we discuss this, Susanna Reid comes up. I didn't even search her, just scroll past her.
Well, yeah, because Instagram listens to you.
Yeah, and it's an article, and it says, it's got Susanna Reid, and the pull quote is this: "I have no guilt around napping.
I saw this yesterday.
Having a guilt-free nap is one of the enormous pleasures of my day. I don't set an alarm." Oh, that's the Delaney method. I know you don't approve of that. I just see what my body naturally needs. Well, that's exactly right, Susanna. You should do what your body naturally needs. And if that's a nap, so be it. Well, the cosmos is speaking to us here, mate.
I mean, I'm the nap expert. I think if anybody has got any kind of expertise on what Susanna Reid's body needs, it's me. But maybe I can drop her a line. I don't know if it'll be, responding
Here you're
to
into
her
naps.
Probably not.
Maybe we should get together and discuss it, or have a nap together.
Yeah. I don't think that would work out. But I'm just looking through Cara Vorderman's Twitter, and it's every single fucking hour, pretty much, she's just listing a different Tory and all of their despicable crimes.
Wow.
It's excellent.
Yeah. It does take bravery to do that, because
yeah, of course.
I obviously I'm not a high profile individual like Cara Vorderman is, and I'm not a woman as well, which means that you can always quadruple the abuse you're going to expose yourself to if you have a fanny, right?
Yeah.
But I gave up really writing anything. I retweet the odd thing that I agree with if I'm in that sort of mood, but I gave up putting anything out there about politics long ago, because it was it can get very traumatic very quickly. And so I really respect people who do. If they're in the public eye, some people go, oh, they should stay out of politics. I don't think that. I actually respect people more when they're in the public eye. They've got more to lose, and they know exactly what they're exposing themselves to, which is always going to be a lot more negativity than positivity.
Why should they stay out of politics?
Yeah, well, people say that, don't they? They go, oh, you're a celebrity. Why aren't you necking?
Who's allowed to talk about politics then? Just politicians?
Precisely.
Or it's some
well, that's what you get. You get Lineker saying things, and people go, stick to football. And I think, fucking why? We've all got fucking as much say as any cunt, Yeah,
and you're only saying that because he's fucking saying something you fundamentally disagree with anyway, so fuck off.
Exactly. So I think that these high-profile people, when they come out and start, nailing their colours to the mast, I respect them for it. That said, I only respect them for it if they're saying things that I agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, Right said Fred are high profile, but they come out of all sorts of toxic nonsense, and I'm not like, well done, you've really stood up to be counted. I'm actually like, you fucking idiot, shut up, stick to doing rubbish songs.
I'm also not a fan of them, so it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. So if it's someone I'm not a fan of, and they have an opinion that I disagree with, then probably I'm less magnanimous. And I'm just saying that because I always think it's important for me to own my own hypocrisy. And in this case, I really do.
This podcast is founded on nothing else than our joint hypocrisies. And we've
well, I think everyone's a hypocrite, but there's just, everyone is guilty of hypocrisy one way or another. There's just, you can either own that and admit to it, or try and pretend that you're not a hypocrite. But what's the point? It's impossible not to be a hypocrite, really.
Of course it is. And if you do try and not be, you'll just tie yourself up in knots, and then you go around the bend.
The point is, we're pro Vorderman. Mostly because we think she's fit and we agree with her opinions. Simple as that.
Yeah. That's the top and bottom of it. We should probably have a look at Rod Hull on This Is Your Life. That's kind of why we're here. What have we got? Where were we up to? We entered the episode last time, and we had Eamon Andrews turning up dressed as some kind of like massive monster chicken.
Yeah, never explains why either.
No, at the same time as Keith Chegwin had been attacked by Emu and dragged across a desk.
And the desk had collapsed.
It collapsed.
And they were on the floor. And
the floor.
Jalapeño.
Rod Hull, when he falls on the floor, which he does a lot, he's such a brilliant physical actor. I mean, he's up there with like the great physical actors. I suppose you got Buster Keaton, haven't you? You got Chaplin. Never really. I'm not a huge Charlie Chaplin fan. Maybe I haven't been exposed to enough of his work really to get it. Then of course you got Rowan Atkinson, brilliant, right? Even if you don't like Mr. Bean or whatever, he is so good at all those pratfalls and that. But the best, Sacha Baron Cohen, he's the best, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
When you see him in Borat, there's the scene in Borat, in the first Borat movie, where he goes in and he's doing it all live in real time because he's in character, but the other people there aren't aware of what's going on. And he starts falling over in this fucking bric-a-brac shop and smashing everything. And every time you think he's like regained balance, he falls over again. And he it goes on and on and on for an uncomfortable amount of time. And by the end, he has just smashed the fuck out of this whole fucking shop. And it's one of the most funny, brilliant things I've seen. And he never... Anyway, that's all good. But Rod Hull, fucking hell. When he falls on his arse, he falls on his arse like a fucking pro. And in this, he's on his arse and he does it with Emu. Emu's still live. Emu's still active. And you forget that Emu is attached to him because Emu's still trying to fight Chegwin. But Rod Hull simultaneously is attacking Chegwin with Emu. Is also on his arse and looking like he's completely unable to get up, like he's fucked and he doesn't know what's going on. And that is fucking genius. How he pulls off those two things at once.
It's great. It's a great bit of stuff. But, like, it's obviously prepared because Chegwin's saying stuff like, get off me hair, and things like that. Chegwin's really sensitive about his hair. So, yeah, it's magnificent. And we've got, of course, Eamon Andrews turns up with the book. I've got some background, actually, that I found about Rod, because we get a close-up of him, don't we? When Eamon Andrews produces the book. How old do you think Rod Hull is at this stage?
Oh, yeah, this is a good question.
I know this is a favourite game of ours because everybody looked older. But
in the 80s, in the 70s, which is the sort of periods he straddled. And he's one of those guys who always looked basically the same age as well. He always looked, I would say, about 52. But I'm going to guess that in this, because you always like knock off a few years, I'm going to say 45.
Weird, haven't you? 47.
47, okay. That's how old I am now. So he's the age I am now.
The same age as Rod Hull in that clip. I would say he looks at least 56 or 58 by how people look now.
Yeah, it's also the way he dresses. He dresses in sort of old man suits, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's got the hairs sort of all over the place and there's some sideburns going on.
Yeah, the sideburns. And weirdly, his chin, which of course is one of his most famous, it's one of his trademark sort of things, isn't it? His big chin. Yeah.
But and of course, when Lee and Herring used to do Rod Hull, it was Kevin Eldon, wasn't it, that used to do him on This Morning with Richard Not Judy, and he had a massive prosthetic chin in that as well. Yeah. And when you see his dad come on later in this episode, it's obvious that the chin runs in the family.
But the funny thing is that I was about to say his chin makes him look like an older man, but he would have had that chin his whole life.
Yeah.
But you just don't think of kids having big chins, do you? You think of it as just men in their 50s have big chins.
Do we see big chins anymore? Have they been bred
very
out
much
of society?
The 70s and 80s, because back then you had three of the biggest figures on TV were Jimmy Hill, ultimate chin, Bruce Forsyth, and Rod Hull. Mm-hmm. 3 of the biggest chins you could ever hope to see.
Massive chins, wasn't it?
Now they don't, and then even in the 90s, we had Robson and Jerome. I think it was Jerome who had a big chin.
Quite a sizey chin, yeah.
Yeah. But since then, not really. You don't really see them.
I wonder if men with big chins, even though they were treasured on television, I wonder if they were shunned by the opposite sex.
Well,
and
nowadays
weren't able to breed.
Nowadays, everyone grows beards, don't they? All the big chin men have got beards, probably, to cover it up.
I look at pictures of fellas with beards quite a lot, and I imagine them without the beard. And when you take the beard away, there's very rarely much going on there. The beard does a great job of masking what is usually. I mean, do you remember Billy Connolly shaved his beard off for a role? And he did a few chat shows at the time, and it was just like, it looked like a baby's arse.
Don't you remember when he did the ad for Caliber, the original non-alcoholic beer, and he went to take a sip in the advert, and he was trying to get a sip without the foam going onto his moustache and beard, and then in the end, the twist at the end of the ad was he removed it, and it turned out to be a false beard, and underneath, he had a bare face. It was a great twist.
It's just wrong.
Disgusting drink.
I tried that at the time, because who else advertised it? Was it Laurie McMenemy?
That might have been the other one. There was one before Caliber. I can't remember what it was called.
We've talked about it in this podcast before, because obviously we have.
Yeah.
Laurie McMenemy,
non-alcoholic beer.
Oh. Alcohol-free beer. Barbican.
That's it.
Was. Yeah, and really, Caliber came along afterwards.
Really revolting drinks, like
horrible.
Really disgusting. I tell you what, my favourite televisual big chin of the 80s was the little old lady out of Chorlton and the Wheelies.
Oh, yeah.
When I think of a really funny, massive chin, I always think of her. And if I'm taking the piss out of someone for having a big chin, I would always send a picture of her to them.
Yeah. What was her name again? Thelma,
hello, little old lady.
Yeah. Chorlton and the Wheelies, little old lady. Fenella.
What was her name?
Fenella, the kettle witch.
Fucking terrifying, wasn't she?
Because she would just disappear and then reappear again, wouldn't she?
Yeah. Blink. Lonk.
Yeah. Down into the ground, then up again somewhere else.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Fenella, an evil witch who speaks in a very strong Welsh accent and lives in Wheelie World, but separately from the Wheelies. In Spout Hall, an oversized kettle. Fenella hates happiness and uses her powers primarily to make the Wheelies unhappy. She was a bastard.
Did you ever watch, like when your kids were young, there was a show called LazyTown?
Yeah.
And it was Swedish, I think. And it was really, like, in some ways, it was a bit of a rip-off of Chorlton and the Wheelies, because it was the same dynamic where there was, like, a town where everyone was pretty happy, like Chorlton and the Wheelies, but there was one town cunt who just fucking resented the strong Raggedy Ann vibes.
Do you remember his name?
His name was... Oh, no, there was a hero called Sporticus.
Sporticus was the hero, yeah.
And then I think it was the same actor played the baddie. And he looked a lot like Waluigi out of Mario Kart.
They did look similar, but they were two different fellas. And he was called Robbie Rotten.
Robbie Rotten. And he lived under the ground, under LazyTown. And very Nazi. He had this telescope that he could... A periscope, sorry. That he just watched them all day. And he hated them because their whole thing was really being healthy and happy. And he resented that. And he just watched them through his periscope and then would just occasionally pop up over ground and try to fuck with whatever they were doing. Never with any success. Yeah. It's a popular thing. It's like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, same sort of vibe.
Of course.
But here's another interesting thing about Robbie Rotten. Massive chin.
Massive chin. He did.
Yeah.
He did.
And the guy who played Sporticus, he was... some sort of like super fit athlete, and he was the guy who created the show, and he created the show to encourage health and fitness amongst young people. And then ironically he dropped dead a few years ago.
No, he didn't.
Have I made all of that up?
You've got it almost right. Robbie Rotten died.
Oh, okay.
Robbie Rotten died in 2018 of cancer.
Oh, well, you can't help that. There's no legislating for that.
He died. He was only 43.
Right.
His wife stated that due to his wishes, there will be no funeral. His earthly remains will be scattered in secrecy in a distant ocean.
Whoa.
Beautiful.
And was he the creator of the show, Robbie Rotten?
No, Sportacus was. Sportacus created the show.
And Sportacus is still going, is he?
He's still going. Yeah, Magnus Scheving.
And what about the little girl? She seemed to be American, not Swedish.
I don't know.
I thought you were on a page where it said, "Where are they now?"
I'm on the Sportacus page. And I've been on the Robbie Rotten page. I'll go to the LazyTown page now. The 8-year-old pink-haired girl called Stephanie.
Yeah,
that's right. I don't think she's got. Oh, she's played by 2 different girls because obviously she'll have grown up.
She'll have grown up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's not get too deep into that because that's not right. She's alive. Well, they're all alive, so that's all right. I had some notes on Rod Hull from just some interviews that I'd read. Apparently, he loathed and detested television.
What, the industry or watching it?
Watching it.
Right.
Its existence, even though he made his fortune from it. He used to describe it as the idiot's lantern.
Lovely.
And his ex-wife said, if it was on, he'd say, I can't believe that ruddy thing's on again. And he preferred to sit in front of the fire having afternoon tea.
Great.
Or to potter around the kitchen making jam or elderberry champagne, which he called fruity fizz pop. So
what a guy.
He led quite a just rest sort of lifestyle.
Yeah, and then he just went out to earn a crust in the only way he knew how, which was to have a pretend emu on his arm, causing mayhem everywhere he went.
Maybe that was his kind of attack on television and television popular culture.
Yeah, if you think about it, the whole routine was turning up in television and trying to ruin it.
Up.
Yeah.
So that ties in with how he felt about television, doesn't it? Him and his wife owned a 32-room house in Rochester in Kent called Restoration House, which he'd bought in 1986 for £400,000 and then renovated for a further £500,000. And they had a villa in Portugal, and 3 of their children all went to public school. But in 1994, he was made bankrupt.
Oh, no.
Because he hadn't paid tax for 5 years.
Fucking hell. Why, Rod?
I think he left all that to his accountant, and he had what you could only describe as a very bad accountant.
Oh, dear.
And one day a letter turned up, said that he hadn't paid tax for 5 years. Bankruptcy. Everything had to go. His wife went back to Australia, where she'd
she left him when he went bankrupt
and grown up, and took the kids.
Oh, that's awful.
But they didn't divorce. She said that they'd like to get back together again at some point. But his eldest son came back to the UK and was living with him.
Right.
When he passed away.
When he had this accident.
Well, it was just
what a sad story.
Together. Yeah. But I guess that might... Well, I don't know if that was the same house that where you weren't allowed to piss on the tyres or not.
I don't know, yeah. What, when he fell off the roof? I don't know whether it was or not. I don't think so. But I don't know.
I don't know. If you have any information about any of Rod Hull's abodes, get in touch. Let us know memories, thoughts. You might have visited them. You might have knocked on the door. You might have just known about them from afar. Anything you've got to add to this series, please get in touch. What have we got? Yeah, we'll just leave it there because it's just the beginning of the episode itself, where they all enter the theatre and This Is Your Life ritual. Would you call it a ritual?
Yeah, it is. It's a ritual.
An ordeal.
Yeah, but This Is Your Life felt like a weird cult that Eamon Andrews was the sort of chief of. And you almost imagine them walking down the steps through the audience with the audience all like wearing hoods and holding candles and chanting. Yeah. It was a bit like that.
I mean, lots of people don't like surprises. I've decided that I don't like surprises because of watching this. You know that bit where the doors open and someone comes on,
Yeah.
a guest, and they play
You'd
that
be like,
little
oh
bit
no,
Boston
not this
music.
cunt.
No, they play that sting, that bit of music.
Yeah.
Da, da, da,
Yeah,
as it
yeah,
comes through.
yeah.
That just gave me a sense of dread when I heard that again.
Do you
I don't know
recognise
why.
this voice?
Yeah. And then they appear and there's that bit of music as they come through the doors.
Did Keegan ever do one?
Oh, he must have done.
It's me,
He must have done.
Fred Leatherland.
Well,
I mean,
what
you
did
know,
you get him on for? I bloody hate him.
I've cut all ties with him.
I've
What is
distanced
this?
myself from him.
It's some kind of ambush.
Why didn't you ask
your
Gene?
name, Kevin.
You've got all sorts of people I no longer care for on this show.
I don't think it's on. Oh, is there an old man there? That could be Fred Leatherland. I don't think it's on YouTube. No, I don't think it is. But he was on there, though. There's evidence. Yeah, can't see it on YouTube. Yeah, we'll leave it there. They've just emerged into the theatre itself. And we'll have more from this Rod Hull meandering deep dive next week. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Goodbye.